Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Live at 4. We have a lot to get to on this Friday afternoon.
We are following two big breaking stories and what could be a dangerous weekend weather in the weather department. But first, we want to start with breaking news out of Rock County, where the sheriff's office is looking for an armed and dangerous man at a mobile home park in Janesville.
That active scene is impacting nearby schools, which our Danica Lewis is following. But we want to begin tonight with Adam Duxter, who is outside of that mobile home park. Adam, you just spoke to the sheriff's office within the last half hour. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Mark and Susan, I'm at the Rockville Mobile Home Park off of Highway 51 here in Rock County, where members of the Rock County Sheriff's Office and other local law enforcement are looking to locate a man that's been described as dangerous and potentially armed. Now, earlier today, I spoke to Rock County Sheriff Troy Knutson, who told me this started today around 1:30 this afternoon when the Department of Criminal Investigation was trying to stop a vehicle just a couple of miles away from here when the person inside that vehicle got out and ran. Now, as a precaution, Black Hawk Tech was put on lockdown, and school buses taking students to this Rockville neighborhood have been stopped for the time being. Now, Knutson says there's no way to tell whether this person is armed or not, but given their history, the sheriff's office has reason for concern.
The information that I have to this point is that there was a belief that in the past he has been armed, and that is the premise that we're using in taking these precautions down here.
Now, the sheriff's office has been using help from canines and drones to try and locate this person, but of course with no luck yet. Now, this person's being described as a black male, about 6'1" and 275 pounds. And Sheriff Knutson did tell me that deputies from the sheriff's office are going to begin going to the schools and getting on the school buses with children who have to come back home here to this Rockville Mobile Home Park to get them home. But again, a very active search here off of Highway 51 in Rock County. And tonight, Sheriff Troy Knutson says if you have any information or if you see this person, to immediately call that tip line. We have that listed on our website, channel3000.com.
Adam Duxter reporting live from Janesville. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. And as we mentioned, this is impacting nearby schools. Our Danica Lewis is outside of Rock University High School, where a lockdown was just lifted. Danica, what's the latest?
Well, Susan and Mark, I got to tell you, we are on the campus of Black Hawk Technical College, just to give you a layout here, and Rock University High School is inside of this building. I'm going to move out of the way here so we can show you the presence here. It is minimal because, as you mentioned, this lockout was lifted over the last 20 minutes or so. I spoke to Jennifer Thompson. She's the spokesperson for Black Hawk Technical College. She said security has walked high school students out of this building. You see those individuals in the bright yellow jackets. There are deputies on campus tonight, but we're told that that's not far from common. There's actually an office for those deputies here on the campus. So, as of right now, things looking to be back to normal here at Black Hawk Technical College and, of course, for the Rock University High School students. As Adam mentioned, those students that had to go back to the trailer park tonight to go home, they were escorted by deputies that came onto the bus and then off the bus with them as they went home. Of course, we'll have any updates from here if we do get them, but for now, I'll send it back to you.
All right, Danica Lewis reporting for us live. Thank you.
The other big story of the day, of course, is the weather.
We are following a major storm expected to impact the area this weekend. Let's go to Dana Fulton. She's out on the weather patio with the very latest. Dana.
Right now out here on the patio, we actually don't have anything falling, but I can't say the same for all of southern Wisconsin. We do have winter storm warnings in effect for most of the area. That's the bright pink color that you see. The purple there, winter storm advisories in effect due to multiple rounds of snow that will be coming through over your weekend. Here's a look right now at our high-resolution Doppler. Notice it seems like light snow falling for parts of Grant County, south of Platteville, around Monroe, getting close to Janesville, the northeast corner of Rock County right now. There's a little mixed precipitation falling, but that mixed line is just south of Madison. So that mixed precipitation with freezing rain possible into parts of Rock County. It looks like closer to Stoughton, but around the Madison area, not seeing anything falling currently, but this moisture is going to continue to pick up. So we will likely be seeing flurries here just in the next few hours. There is an alert day in effect for tonight due to the snow and freezing rain that is building on in. It's going to lead to some slick roads for your Saturday morning. This is just the first round, as we are expecting another round of snow to develop for Saturday afternoon. But we'll take a closer look at accumulation totals and the timing heading into your Saturday in just a few minutes. Right now, here's a look at the Beltline on Park Street. The eastbound side of the Beltline already seeing some major delays. Nothing that is weather related right now on the Beltline, though. Downtown in Madison should be fairly smooth. Middleton also looks smooth right now. No delays there. And around Janesville, fairly smooth. 39 should be good all the way down to the Illinois state line. 24 minutes to get from Janesville to the Beltline. 17 minutes to get from Sauk City to Middleton and from Sun Prairie to downtown. Traffic something we'll be keeping a close eye on tonight as the snow does start to creep in here in the next few hours.
All right, we'll check back in a few minutes. Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Dana. Ahead of the storm, the Homeless Services Consortium of Dane County issued extreme weather notifications.
That means emergency shelters will welcome anyone who needs a place to stay despite their capacity limits. Our Gabrielle Becerra joins us now with how these shelters are preparing. Gabby?
The Salvation Army's Family Shelter and their Women's Shelter, along with Porch Light's Men Drop-In Shelter, will all be open tonight and no one will be turned away. These shelters are ready with warm winter items, including socks, hats, gloves, and blankets. An extreme weather night is considered 20 degrees wind chill or less, but Porch Light Executive Director Carla Tennis says with a bad storm like this one, the doors will stay open.
We do not turn people away for capacity issues. And at this time of year, nobody would be out of days. But even if somebody had been suspended from services with the cold weather and with the storm, we have weather exception nights. And so everybody is welcome to come in.
Tennis says Porch Light has already seen a season high of 148 people. And for comparison, during the extremely cold temperatures last year, they saw 170 people. Mark and Susan.
Gabriella, thank you.
Snow emergencies are in place for a handful of cities across our area through the weekend. Each city handles them differently, so we've posted the details on our website, channel3000.com. So far, the city of Madison has not declared an emergency, but the city automatically declares one if 3 or more inches of snow fall on downtown roads. And keep our News 3 Now app and our weather app handy this weekend. We'll have the latest forecast and the impacts of these winter storms so you can be prepared. Both apps are free in your app store.
Also breaking this afternoon, a child has died from the flu here in Wisconsin.
It is the first pediatric flu death of the season. Charlotte Celeste joins us now. Charlotte, what do we know about this child?
Well, the child's identity is being protected right now, but we do know they were younger than 10 years old and lived in the southeastern part of the state. The child had moved to Wisconsin over the past couple of months, which makes it harder to track down those immunization records. The Department of Health Services tells us the child died on the way to the hospital. They had influenza B, which has been particularly problematic around the country this season. Experts say this season has been especially hard on young people and children.
Among the 622 hospitalizations for influenza this season, 97 have required admission to the intensive care unit. 60% of hospital admissions have been under the age of 65. This is in contrast to previous seasons where over 60% of our hospitalizations have been over 65 years old.
Tom Haupt, the influenza surveillance coordinator with DHS, says kids are susceptible to the flu and RSV right now. This is one of 15 deaths now attributed to influenza in Wisconsin. And parents, you probably know what I'm going to say next, but the best way to protect yourself and your kids is getting the flu shot. Now, usually flu season is at its worst in February here in Wisconsin, so health officials will be closely monitoring all of these cases.
This could be a bad season for the flu. All right, Charlotte, thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. It's been 1 year since 13-year-old Jamie Kloss escaped from Jake Patterson's home. Kloss had been held captive at the house for 88 days after her parents were murdered in their Barron County home. While Jamie's story had a positive outcome, roughly 800,000 children are reported missing each year in the U.S. In Wisconsin, 47 children are currently missing right now, and half of them are from the Milwaukee area.
The Senate is expected to receive the articles of impeachment against President Trump next week after a 3-week-long standoff. In a letter to House Democrats, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi wrote, quote, "I have asked Judiciary Committee Chair Jerry Nadler to be prepared to bring to the floor next week a resolution to appoint managers and transmit articles of impeachment to the Senate." House Republican Whip Steve Scalise tweeted after the announcement that Pelosi is, quote, "caving," but House Democrats departing the Capitol today expressed confidence in their Speaker's strategy.
This is about protecting our Constitution.
She's trying to accomplish a fair process.
The White House's legal team says it's fully prepared for a Senate trial. On the surface, tensions between the U.S. and Iran appear to be cooling down, but more information is coming out about the events of the past week. Skylar Henry has more from the White House.
On the same day, a U.S. drone strike killed a top Iranian general in Iraq. The Washington Post reports another U.S. strike launched in Yemen, aimed at Abdul Reza Shalahi, a financier and key commander of Iran's elite Quds force, but it did not result in Shalahi's death. The State Department accuses Shalahi of masterminding assassinations of U.S. forces in Iraq.
Given Shalahi's track record of terrorism and destabilization in Iraq, we remain gravely concerned by his presence in Yemen.
The Trump administration insists the drone strike on the Iranian general was needed because he was planning an imminent attack on Americans.
This was going to happen, and American lives were at risk. And we would have been culpably negligent, as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said, we would have been culpably negligent had we not recommended to the president that he take this action in Qasem Soleimani. He made the right call, and America is safer as a result of that.
Iran launched more than a dozen missiles at Iraqi bases hosting American forces in retaliation for killing Qasem Soleimani. The U.S. responded Friday with more sanctions.
We are taking action against 8 senior Iranian officials who advanced the regime's destabilizing activity and were involved in Tuesday's ballistic missile strike.
The Trump administration says in the hours after that attack, an Iranian surface-to-air missile shot down a Ukrainian passenger jet, killing all 176 people on board. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
The Democrat-led House of Representatives passed a resolution today aimed at trying to limit President Trump's ability to carry out further military strikes against Iran. The Senate is expected to debate a similar measure as well.
Well, still to come at 4, 11 Americans and 2 Canadians are ready to fly into space.
We'll meet NASA's graduating class of astronauts when Live at 4 continues.
Well.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Well, there are concerns about the popular heartburn drug ranitidine and a chemical linked to cancer.
The initial findings last September spurred a partial voluntary recall of Zantac and its generic versions taken by an estimated 2 million Americans. At Emory Pharma in California, chemist Ron Najafi has been trying to figure out why FDA testing revealed that some batches of the drug had unacceptable levels of NDMA. It's a chemical linked to cancer. At room temperature, a standard dose rose to 25 nanograms of NDMA, below the FDA daily acceptable limit of 96. But when ranitidine was heated to 158 degrees, the levels rose to 142 nanograms.
So if someone were to keep their ranitidine Zantac in their car, for example, and in the middle of summertime, that product is going to get heated up. And it's going to generate this compound. So NDMA in this case, John, is not an impurity in the drug. It's being formed from the drug itself.
Since the recall is voluntary, the FDA says there still may be some ranitidine products on store shelves. Officials tell CBS News testing of an improved Zantac product is ongoing. As for the source of the NDMA, the FDA says the investigation is ongoing and they do not think it is an impurity added in the production process. Well, NASA graduated its next class of astronauts today during a special ceremony at the Johnson Space Center in Texas.
After completing over 2 years of basic training, they're now eligible for spaceflight. 11 Americans and 2 Canadian astronauts crossed the stage ready for historic missions. The men and women are the first class to graduate under NASA's Artemis program, making them eligible to fly to the moon as well as the International Space Station. The candidates were selected from a pool of more than 18,000 applicants. Instead of a diploma, each astronaut was given a Silver Star-tipped pin, 2 of which are on the moon today.
If one of you are on the surface of the moon and you do find one of those pins, if you would leave it there, we would appreciate it.
After training in robotics, spacewalking, and Russian, NASA says the new crew is ready to take another giant leap for mankind. Well, stocks ended lower on Wall Street. The Dow Industrials fell 133 points, ending the week at 28,823. The NASDAQ lost 24. The S&P 500 was off 9. Well, if you have any old bicycles that your kids have outgrown, a local nonprofit can help you give them new life.
Yeah, kids grow out of them very fast.
Do.
Free Bikes for Kids is having its annual bike collection event tomorrow morning. Andy Quant is the executive director of Free Bikes for Kids, and he's here today with his 9-year-old daughter, Ruby. Welcome, guys. Good to see you.
Thanks for having us.
So there's a big storm coming tomorrow, but the bike collection will still be on.
It's still on.
Okay.
Yep, I think we'll be all right.
For people who don't know about Free Bikes for Kids, tell us a little bit about the program.
So Free Bikes for Kids has 3 parts. We have the big collection, which happens tomorrow. And then we bring all the bikes into a central warehouse space. For the next 10 weeks, we have volunteers come in and we repair every single one of the bikes. And then at the end of that season, at the end of March, we give them all away through 60 different community partners around town. We should do 1,500 to 2,000 bikes this year if things go well tomorrow.
Do you take any bike, or should they be rideable?
Well, we'd like them to be somewhat rideable, but we're able to repair them, and we'll take any size, any kind of bike. We do give away a lot of adult bikes, too.
I was just going to say that, not just kids' bikes, adult bikes, too.
Correct. A lot of the kids and families that we give them to are adult-sized people.
And who's eligible to receive a bike?
So we don't give directly to individuals, but organizations that want to receive bikes can apply online and become one of our distribution partners.
Now, Ruby, you help your dad when the bikes are given out,
She's a volunteer,
right?
yes.
Yeah, you're a volunteer. What's that like?
I like seeing the kids' reactions once they get the bike, and when they first try it out, like sometimes I can see them riding out of the building on their bikes and enjoying it.
What is their reaction? Are they just so happy to get a bike?
Yeah, normally they're really happy and excited that they can finally have a bike.
You like biking?
Yeah.
You like riding?
Mm-hmm.
So what are your duties tomorrow morning?
What do you mean?
What do you have to do tomorrow to help your dad out?
Well...
I don't think she's going to be there tomorrow.
Okay, all right.
She helps the distribution.
She only comes in the fun part at the end where we give them away.
Right away.
Yeah, she doesn't haul them around.
But this is a very special mission, Andy, that every kid deserves a bike. That's sort of what drives your whole campaign,
absolutely.
Right?
And it's really about access.
Yeah.
You know, not everyone has access to a decent bike. There's plenty of bikes out there. There's a huge surplus. You know, the bikes are in these garages. They've been there for a while, they're collecting dust, and we're trying to get those bikes into the hands of people that can use them.
How many years have you been doing this?
This will be our 4th season now.
So how many bikes? About 10,000?
Well, it's been about 3,000 so far.
Okay.
I think the Madison population can sustain, 1,500 to 2,000 every season.
So how does the collection work tomorrow?
So the collection works between 9 and 1. Anybody with an extra bike can drop it off at a Meritor clinic in the area. We have 6 different Meritor clinics all spread out throughout Dane County, and then we'll come by on our trucks and pick them up and bring them into the central warehouse.
Meritor clinics in Stoughton, Monona, DeForest, Middleton, Madison, and Fitchburg. Drop-off time?
9 to 1.
All right. For more information, go to fb4kmadison.org.
It's on Andy's T-shirt.
Yes. fb4k.org. Go to the Madison.
Ruby, what grade are you in, honey?
Ninth.
9th.
4th grade, but I am 9.
You're 9 in 4th grade.
All right. Well, good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, and thanks for all you do. Keep up the good work, you guys. And
bet.
great to see you.
Thank you.
Stay with us. There's more to come at 4, including a preview of what's coming up this weekend on CBS Sunday Morning.
And Dana Fulton continues to monitor a potentially strong snowstorm this weekend. She'll have the latest when Live at 4 continues.
For an accurate forecast you can trust, watch First Alert Weather.
Take a look at this. Forget dressing to the nines. Audiences attending a music festival, or ice festival it is, at a glacier in Italy need to be dressed for Arctic conditions. After 9,000 hours of work and using 10 tons of snow, organizers of the festival have built a 300-seater igloo to house 54 concerts that will be performed by instruments made entirely out of ice. The musicians make it
That
look
is
easy,
really
but it's
cool.
extremely difficult playing an instrument made of ice, and the construction of them is a major engineering feat.
Did you notice the violin had to be suspended from the ceiling?
Oh, 'cause it was-
Because they couldn't touch it, would melt.
Well, after this weekend, you could probably do that in Madison.
You
no?
might be able to. Yeah, we might be dealing with some ice music around here. Now, we're tracking rounds of snow right now. Some areas also seeing freezing rain coming through
that's
this
the worst.
evening. Exactly. That's when conditions get a little slick on the road. So we're going to take a closer look at the timing and our accumulation totals right after the break. We have a lot going on in the weather office right now, so we'll look at our current conditions with our Doppler radar first. Right now, this moisture starting to creep on in. It's still very dry outside, though, so usually this high-resolution Doppler gives us a good view of what's actually falling on the ground. It was just outside on the patio. We don't have anything falling in Madison, but as more of this moisture moves on in, it does seem likely that areas south and east are going to continue to see freezing rain, while areas to the west and north are going to see light snowfall, and then that light snow is just going to continue on through the rest of the evening and overnight. So we have alert days in the forecast for tonight, Saturday, and Sunday. 1 to 3 inches possible for tonight. For Saturday, we get a little break in the snow, and then another round of snow expected. For Sunday, the snow is going to end, but travel impacts are going to continue throughout the day due to that snow coming through for Saturday night. The same system bringing our snowfall, bringing severe weather to the deep south. The line of this moisture stretching all the way up towards Wisconsin. Right now, the snow in that wintry mix is starting to approach. It continues through the rest of the evening, and then for Saturday morning and early afternoon, we do get a break in the snow. It stays cloudy, it stays windy. Roads are likely still going to be slick and sidewalks still icy, but nothing will be coming down, so it'll give us a bit of an opportunity to get those sidewalks, roadways, and driveways, of course, cleaned on off. Now, by Saturday afternoon, that second round of snow passes on through, leading us into Sunday, which will be the opportunity to clean up everything once the snow completely comes to an end. Mostly cloudy right now with quite a breeze coming from the north. By about 7, 8 o'clock tonight, we're going to have consistent snowfall falling for much of Dane County and areas to the south, seeing freezing rain first before that snow travels in for early on Saturday morning. But notice by 6, 7 o'clock on Saturday, the moisture is on out of here. We have a mostly cloudy sky to start off today. Very cold for early on, but we don't have snow early on. So if you have to do anything on Saturday, certainly a good idea to try to get it done early, because later in the afternoon, really recommending that nobody hops on the roads, because we're expecting the snow to start up and then become quite heavy at times. By about 2, 3 o'clock, so afternoon, the snow initially starts for areas south of Madison along the state line, and then that band of snow is going to lift north. And once it picks up, it is going to be heavy. Visibility is reduced, and not only are we concerned about the snow falling, but these wind speeds are going to be picking up into the teens and close to 20 miles per hour. So visibility is definitely going to be a concern for Saturday evening heading into Sunday morning. Once we get after midnight, though, that snow starts to taper on off. We'll still have a mostly cloudy sky throughout Sunday morning, but it gives us an opportunity again to get everything all cleared up before we have a few more flurry chances for the work week. Temperatures Sunday morning are in the teens. We're looking at a very cold day, but it's not going to be a snowy afternoon, just cold outside. Breaking down our snowfall potential for tonight, it seems likely that much of the area will be under that 1 to 3 inch range. However, this bubble stretching from Grant County into the western edge of Dane County could see a little bit more, because that area is going to be seeing snowfall for most of the evening, while the rest of the area will be starting off with a little bit of freezing rain, or like right now, it's too dry, so we don't have anything in Madison. So higher totals expected to the west. Total accumulation. So once we get through tonight, Saturday into Sunday morning, areas north and west of Madison anywhere from 3 to 6 inches. Areas southeast of Madison expecting 6 to 9 inches, with isolated areas certainly picking up more. Now these totals have backed off just a little bit, just because the precipitation coming through this evening, it's backed off a little bit for us. So that tight gradient, though, between Dane County, some folks to the north and west might only be dealing with a few inches, while folks south of Stoughton could be seeing quite a bit more coming on through heading into Sunday. Because of this, there are winter storm warnings in effect for most of the area. That's our bright pink color, this purple. Winter weather advisories. The difference between that winter storm warning and the winter weather advisory, just the areas under a warning, likely going to see a little more. So we still have alert days through the weekend. Temperatures a little closer to average. Will be in the upper 20s on Saturday. Sunday, very cloudy skies in the morning, a little more sun in the afternoon, with temperatures in the mid-20s for afternoon highs. Monday, mostly cloudy. Tuesday, we are expecting some more light snowfall to come through. We'll see some accumulation on Tuesday and Wednesday, but nothing like what we are expecting to see coming through tonight and for Saturday.
And the wind's going to be an issue.
The wind's definitely going to be an issue. So when we talk about visibility, of course, it's not just what's falling. It's also that blowing snow, especially on the rural roads where you have the flat farm fields. It becomes a much bigger concern for those
And we have to
areas.
remember it's going to come in waves and rounds.
So we get some of it cleaned up, and then that becomes drifting snow again when the next round's still coming through.
Just stay home, watch football.
Yes, it'd be a good idea to have some indoor plans this weekend. I'm definitely encouraging that.
All right, Dana, thank you.
Thank you, Dana. Well, Chris will keep us up to date on the weather this weekend here on News 3 Now.
And then stay tuned for CBS Sunday Morning. Jane Pauley joins us now with a preview of what's coming up Sunday morning. Understand a piece on Kim Novak today.
Oh, yeah. Mo Rocca looks up a real Hollywood classic. Actress Kim Novak. 86 now, she was becoming a star in the 1950s. A 22-year-old sharing the screen with William Holden in the movie Picnic. She was the object of the Jimmy Stewart character's obsession in Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. Actually, she played 2 roles in that one. And then everything changed. And in 1966, Kim Novak left Hollywood. Here's a clip.
And I'm not going to sit around and wait for some great thing to come along. That's not who I am. And I thought, you know, what I'd like to do, if I have my choice, I want to go to Big Sur and go back to painting. And for better or worse, I left Hollywood.
And go back to painting, she did. Kim Novak left Hollywood for good, but in 2014, nearly half a century later, she made a rare appearance at the Oscars. And her appearance raised questions and generated comments. You'll hear all about that and more in Mo's interview. Mark?
Can't wait for that. What else is on the show?
Well, the octopus There is way more to the octopus than those 8 arms. Be ready to count the ways. You'll learn a lot about octopuses. And with the Grammys just a couple weeks away, musician Gary Clark Jr., he's nominated for 4. We'll visit his ranch in Texas. So that, and as always, a whole lot more.
A whole lot more.
We'll see you then.
We'll see you Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. Thanks, Jane.
Thank you. Bye.
Here's a live look downtown this Friday afternoon. No snow yet.
Nope, waiting for the snow.
We're waiting for it to arrive. It is 4:38 right now. Let's get a review of the headlines.
Schools in Rock County have been released from a lockdown after a suspect of a drug investigation ran away from investigators. It started around 1:30 this afternoon after state agents and deputies stopped the suspect's car. He jumped out and ran into the Rockville Mobile Home Park. Since the agents thought he might have a gun, they locked down nearby schools. The search for the man continues.
A child has died from the flu here in Wisconsin. It is the first pediatric flu death of the season. The child's identity has been protected, but we know that they are younger than 10 years old and lived in the southeastern part of the state. The child had moved to Wisconsin over the past couple of months, which is making it harder to track down the immunization records.
Author and Democratic presidential candidate Marianne Williamson says that she is dropping out of the race. She has failed to gain much traction among voters. Williamson failed to make the fundraising threshold to participate in next week's debate in Des Moines.
It's been 1 year since 13-year-old Jamie Kloss escaped from Jake Patterson's home. Kloss was held captive for 88 days after her parents were murdered in their Barron County home. Patterson is serving a life sentence in prison for the crimes.
Well, when we come back, we're going backstage with Michael Bruno.
He's going to check out Encore Studios' production of its original production of You Name It, the musical. That's when Live at 4 continues.
While I don't have any accidents to report, we are seeing pretty significant delays along the Beltline. This is a look at the Beltline at Park Street. Eastbound, we're seeing delays for all lanes, and westbound usually going fairly smoothly right now, but we have backups. Some folks trying to merge there, and you can see it's taken a little bit of time as a lot of folks slowing on down as this precipitation starts to build on in. We also have some delays downtown on the Isthmus. Middleton, if you're taking 12 where it splits from 14, we do have some delays as well. Downtown Janesville actually doesn't look too bad about the usual scene for a Friday evening, and then 39 all the way down to the state line. At least the interstate looks smooth currently. From Janesville to the Beltline will be about 25 minutes, 17 minutes to get from Sauk City to Middleton, and some Prairie to downtown, about 18 minutes this evening. That's a quick look at traffic.
All right, Dana, thank you. Mexico's second tallest volcano blew its top Thursday morning. The volcano east of Mexico City spewed ash and lava into the sky at daybreak. The volcano, called Don Goyo by the locals, has registered 268 exhalations as well as 3 low-level earthquakes. I guess that's what it's called. You can't see that enough.
That's incredible to see, isn't it?
It's crowd favorite.
Wow.
Encore Studios for the Performing Arts is the only professional theater company for people with disabilities in the state and one of the few in the country.
It's an amazing program. Their latest production is called You Name It. Our Michael Bruno went backstage to check it out.
We need to build a team.
You Name It is a rock musical, and without giving too much away, it's about a woman before her 40th birthday who works in human services that is kind of at a crossroads in her life.
Run, run, build a team, pretend we all get along.
She isn't necessarily happy with where she is, and she wants to figure out a way to make her life more meaningful and still be happy.
Basically, everything in her life is pretty stressful. She's dealing with with staff who aren't fulfilling their obligations and have quit, and she's trying to figure out her place in all of this.
My band is my religion, my job is helping people.
I like to think of it as like a rock musical with a comedy drama thing, because there's a lot of moments of gravitas as well as a lot of moments of humor.
I think the best use of our time to talk about our company's bottom line. If you asked me 20 years ago, what are you going to be doing for 15 years of your life? I would never say acting, but it happened, and I'm glad it did, and it's been an amazing opportunity. Team A. 7 will have a chance to make their careers advance.
And I have to tell you, every time I see you on stage, you have the most wonderful sense of humor, and your style and your delivery, it's just so wonderful to watch you. So what does it feel like when you get laughs and you get the applause from the audience?
For me, it feels like we're actually doing our job right, and people are getting what it is we're trying to relay. Sarcasm, peacefulness, whatever we're trying to relay, and people are actually laughing and getting it and reacting to it from the audience, it's actually a really good feeling, because it means that we're doing our job right. Build a team!
Make money! As an artistic associate, we're we support in like a vocational way. So, you know, basically how to work. And we use theater as a tool because theater is an amazing and wonderful tool to just express and be a functional human, in my opinion. That's probably why I've done it for as long as I have. But what we kind of focus on here is how can we be the best actor that we can be? And theater is a job. Working in theater is a profession. So the fact that we not only create work for artists who are able-bodied, but for folks with disabilities as well, is really huge. And these are consistent jobs. You know, we come in, we say, here's how you rehearse, here's how you memorize, here's the script for this one.
This is our career, and there's no fanfare.
But it's a punk rock and roll musical. You're not going to hear a lot of Ethel Mermaning in this one.
This is our career, there's no fanfare.
Encore Studios. Michael joining us now. These are all full-time paid actors.
That's their full-time job, which is just astonishing, and it's wonderful. It's just so uplifting and so wonderful to see these people coming in, doing that as a job, and then putting these wonderful original shows on at that theater.
The inclusiveness of it is amazing. I mean, just an opportunity to participate in live theater.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's incredible. So they take anybody? They have to audition?
I think they have to audition. Yes, they have to audition, and they base their by their ability on what roles they get. And some of them are like they're doing everything. They're singing, they're dancing, they're creating. There was one girl who writes music, and it's really encouraging, and they do really, really good work.
And they seem to enjoy it.
Oh, they love it. They absolutely just love it, and I just love watching them. It's just so inspiring.
It is inspiring, yeah.
It's You Name It, the musical, performed at the Mary DuPont Wallers Theater. That's at 1480 Martin Street in Madison. Performances tonight. Tomorrow night has been canceled because of the weather, so if you had tickets for that, you should call and get a refund or rebook. 17th, 18th, 24th, 25th at 8 p.m. and the 19th at 2. Call 608-255-0331 or email Tickets at encorestudio.org.
How many shows do they do a year, Michael? Do they?
I think they're up to 4 now.
Wow.
I think they do 4
A lot of
shows a year.
performances.
Oh, break a leg, everybody. Good luck.
Amazing.
Right. Next week?
Next week, it's an original new show that no one's ever heard of for Verona called Mamma Mia. I hear it's fabulous. ABBA. No one ever does that show. It's amazing. It's wonderful.
You never get tired of it, though. It's always a huge hit.
How many times have you covered this?
At least 5.
Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia. And happy 8th anniversary to us.
Yes.
8 years we've been
Boy,
together
time
here.
flies when you're having fun,
Yes,
huh?
it does.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Be safe
Michael.
out there.
Stay
Oh,
warm.
yes. Bundle up.
We'll have a final check of your forecast coming up.
Are you role playback?
It's coming.
It's coming. It's knocking on the door right now. Some folks are already getting reports. We had one for folks over in Grant County. They're seeing some lighter snowfall, some freezing rain also to the south. So here's a look at our high resolution Doppler. I'll zoom in just a little bit in Madison right now. The line between where we're seeing light snow and where we're seeing freezing rain is a very, very thin line. And if you're south of that, roads could be a little icy right now around Stoughton and Edgerton. There are winter storm warnings and advisories in effect throughout southern Wisconsin as these routes of snow slide on through.
Be careful out there. All right, Monday here on Live at 4, our Will Loper tells us what he thinks of the new movie Like a Boss.
And we'll preview the winter version of Restaurant Week. We'll visit Palette in the Hotel Indigo in downtown Madison. That's on the next Live at 4. Our canine correspondents Lola and Louie have an unusual group of critters this week.
Let's check them out in the News Sounds Now update.
It's News Hounds Now Update with Lola and Louie.
This week on the News Hounds, a turtle goes home.
Hunting turkey?
And a meditating kitty.
But first, the Miami Zoo announced the birth of a cute little koala named Hope in honor of the koala suffering from the Australian brush fires. The koala, originally named Joey, was born on May 30th, 2019, but only recently came out of its mother's pouch. Zoo officials decided to change the name to provide some hope to all that are suffering in Australia. This is the first time in 28 years that a koala was born at the zoo.
A green sea turtle named Allie was rescued last May by a Florida Keys dive charter operator. The 40-pound turtle was taken to the Key-based Turtle Hospital to be treated for a variety of problems. Now recovered, it was time for Allie to go home. She was released above a coral reef in the Florida Keys.